Okay, everyone, welcome. Oh my God, I am so excited. You're going to see a lot of excitement from me for this call to be here on call two. And I am just, first of all, this reset is popping off. You guys have been superstars in this Telegram, and I am so overjoyed for all of you, to each and every one of you, to have these different breakthroughs, to be talking with one another, to really seeing how your body is responding with just one simple shift and how that can create such a big difference in your day, in your life. And we're going to kind of talk a little bit about expansion this call. So this is going to be probably about 20 to 30 minutes, hit it to 1.25. And let's go. Of course, I got my notes sitting here, so I know exactly what I'm going to say so I don't get off topic. But when we were talking on Monday, we were talking a little bit about one thing I really wanted you to like think about during the week is we're looking for your evidence. We were looking for proof. We were looking for like how you feel in your day, in your cravings, in your energy, in like the way you think about food, which has come across to show you that your body is not broken. It just needed a different way of input, so a different way to respond. And I wanted us to collect evidence. That's why we weren't talking about everything in your life. I feel that that's one area, that's one thing that kind of throws us off. Oh, here's Charity. That's one thing that kind of throws us off into the abyss is if we decide, hello, we decide, I'm just going to change this quickly here. I got to put myself on a spotlight somehow. Oh, I don't know how to do this. So that it actually shows me, not, uh, darn. If I only knew, if I was only more host tools, if I was only a little bit more advanced with this, because now it's just gonna, I don't know how I did it last time. Hmm. We'll just make sure everyone um are, there we go. That works. Oh, you have to double click. Okay. Sorry. I'm just trying to get it so on the recording you can just actually like see my face. Okay, where was I going? If we had talked about over changing everything, and I feel like when we get into things like workout, like programs in these, there's so much going on. It's like nutrition, it's like working out, it's like doing all these things perfectly. Like we get into a state of overwhelm that by like the third to fourth day, we completely just say screw it and we're like, or within 10 days, and we're not even continuing anything on. And that's where we start to lose a little bit of self-trust with ourselves, self-confidence. We feel like we failed. We get into that starting over every Monday spiral. So that's exactly why this was specifically looking at one thing, which was just breakfast. And I want you to notice what happened. Like, what did you notice about your hunger? How was your day? Did anything really change with your cravings? And I'm going to bring up some of the things that the lady said in the telegram in case you missed it. What happened to your energy? What were you thinking about differently, or what did you even notice about your afternoon? And what surprised you the most? And that I think that was a big thing too, is that what surprised you about just making one small shift, and what did you really like learn about yourself? So because I want you to think about things that not just like I felt fuller, because that's one thing, but really think about like how did that actually change things for later in your day? Were you snacking less? Were you thinking about causing less snacking? Like what do you think was actually causing all of that snacking and that hunger feeling and all that food noise? Maybe it's because you actually prepped your breakfast appropriately on time, like Jamie said. Maybe it was because, you actually had like a little bit of direction and a little bit of like, oh, this is what I can do to kind of like get my day going, where you maybe didn't know that, or you had tried before, but you really weren't sure, like, you really weren't sure exactly how it was all going to come together because you didn't have like some accountability and support. Did you have more energy? And like, what would you have normally done when your energy had dropped? Would you just be like reaching for something? Would you be grabbing something to eat, grabbing a Starbucks, doing whatever, spending the money? And I just want you to keep coming back to like, what is this telling me? Like, what is this about my body is telling me that my body like actually has responded? So now I just want to share really briefly here about a couple things that's actually been happening in our group, because I think it's like, I'm just like so floored by all of this. So excited by everyone having these breakthroughs, which is, like I said, exactly why I created this. So this was from Kelly, who said, I definitely held me over until lunch. Now, Kelly was actually the lady that we looked at her breakfast in the morning when she was having like the four pieces of cheese and the Melba toast. And this actually sounds like such a simple statement that this definitely held me over until lunch. But think of like what that actually means. She might have been like doing a lot of snacking or something in between. We haven't gone into a lot of specifics about that. Or maybe thinking like, why am I hungry again? And like myself, like with the peanut butter and toast story, thinking like, why do I not have enough discipline? Like, why can't I just get it together? Why can't I make it to lunch? And if you looking at it with the composition with one meal, because Kelly has been she's been pretty consistently showing that she's been doing the yogurt bowl with the protein, the yogurt, the berries, and I think she's adding a little bit of chia seeds. And just think about that one shift. She went from like 20 some, well, I think depending on how much the cheese weighed, we weren't 100% sure, but a meal that was not really great, that balance, but that's just what we knew. Like I'm 3 pieces of peanut butter and toast, no shame. To having like a fully balanced meal of like protein, carbs, and fat that's keeping her full for 5 hours, not worrying about the food noise, not thinking about what am I going to eat next, not like having that like constant thought of like where am I going? Because I know like one thing that I have noticed for myself is that it's turned that off and what less of a pain in the ass it is. Like when you're going out and about and you're like, oh, I'm hungry again, and you're doing errands or you're at work and you're busy. I just found it was really annoying. And I found that when I'm like more stable and I feel like I can just go through my day and do my work, whatever it is, errands, look after the kids, and I'm not constantly thinking about like what's going to happen next. And I found it was actually like a big relief of mental load, which is what Jamie said. One thing was awareness too. Like people feeling more fuller. So she changed her input, which was the yogurt bowl, higher protein, and her experience changed. She didn't suddenly develop more willpower or become more disciplined. She just changed that. So the other one was awareness. So this was Pam. I love this. Peanut butter and toast girl for years. Also measured with her heart. Okay, this one really hit home because you guys know about my story. Because I thought that that was something that I was doing that was just like working for me. And this is why having awareness around this matters so much and someone to kind of mirror it back to you because sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And that was me. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know. I thought protein was like, I thought there was lots of protein in peanut butter. I thought I was doing myself a favor, right? And it's not that you're failing. You just maybe just haven't seen that gap. And that's what I needed. Like, I'll tell you a little bit about my story here in a sec. But once I actually saw, okay, this was actually happening, like I couldn't undo it. And I think a lot of us are going to have those experiences going forward where if you have a morning where you're like, okay, I'm going to fall back into, or you have a busy morning, like shit, life happens, shit happens. You're going to have peanut butter and toast at some point, right? This is what this is all about. We're not having a perfection thing. You're going to have peanut butter and toast at some point, probably again. You're going to notice a difference. Because let me tell you, I do. If I do that and I'm like used to having my yogurt bowl or my protein pancake every morning, I'm like, what is going on with me? Like, why do I feel the way I feel? It's just because I haven't filled up that protein bucket. I haven't actually given my body what it needs to move forward. And I'm searching like a raccoon to look for something. And honestly, it's usually more peanut butter and toast, okay? Which is why I could never lose any weight. The other one is major behavior changes. So I want to look at how things go, like again with Pam. Like, so she looked at the yogurt bowl, she tried it, she measured it. And even like Jamie, excuse me, who was like, took her yogurt bowl on Monday morning. Then she got busy at work, realized, okay, I didn't eat until 1 o'clock. So that's like, I'm sure Jamie's up early. She's just my neighbor. She's probably up at 5 feeding her animals. That is like 7 to 8 hours of like fasting plus overnight of not having probably any type of food. Maybe she had a few snacks in between there. I wasn't 100% sure. But then she saw that awareness. She's like, okay, I'm going to prepare this for tomorrow. And I absolutely love that part. She's going to get her yogurt bowl ready for the next couple days, I believe she said. Then she was like, I'm going to get my yogurt, my egg bites prepared for Friday. Like that's awareness. Like that's a change in behavior because she found something that worked in a really short period of time because she was seeing a benefit from it. And now she's figuring out how to repeat it so she can make it a way easier. And the best part I love about this is that I feel like that's sustainable. Like it's something that we're going to continue to work on. It's not 47 different things or all these rules. It's just something that worked really well enough for her that she's going to continue to repeat it. And I think what her exact wording was is it was so delicious. I'm going to do it again. I know we love the yogurt bowl. It's like my absolute favorite thing. Okay. Energy and craving. So has anyone had anything like that? Like where were you before? Where were you afterwards? And I think there was a gal in here. Pam, who said the same thing. Pam's been a real cheerleader here, who said, doing the yogurt bowl today, even had a late dinner, and I noticed I still wasn't hungry, which is awesome. Mindset and confidence in planning. So that was with Jamie. And really, the big thing that I want to show you, what does this all prove? And if there was anyone on here, if you wanted to answer, Charity, you want to drop in the chat, right? Like, what does this all prove? It proves that, like, maybe your evidence would be I stayed satisfied longer. You didn't need your normal snack. Your cravings felt different. Your energy was different. You finally kind of maybe understood why that old breakfast wasn't working for you like it did. You realize this is a big one. You can eat breakfast. I know Kara was really working on planning ahead, trying to get that in for her. She said within an hour to hour and a half of waking to try and eat something because she was quite a bit later. She was used to eating quite a bit later in the day, which then kind of produced a little bit of like extra things happening for her later on in the afternoon. Um, and maybe it was like I stopped winning it. I planned ahead. I feel more prepared. Like I don't know about you, but when I work early in the morning and I feel like I have things going here, like I just feel like my whole day starts better. I feel like it starts better. I feel more prepared. I know what's going on. And I just feel like, I got shit together. Specifically if I do a workout and then I do a breakfast, like watch out. I got my cape on. Like I'm doing stuff here. Okay, right? I mean, or maybe there you didn't even notice like a big huge physical change, but you had awareness. Maybe you understood something here that you didn't understand 7 days ago or 5 days ago, because we still have 2 days left. And that actually really matters because I wanted to give you this week was I wanted you to stop having those beliefs about my body is broken, less is more, why can't I just do this? Why can't I get my shit together? And start creating your own proof and evidence by this one small shift. And I can say with 100% certainty, it has for sure happened. I'm hoping with each and every one of you. And if it hasn't, if there's just like a small thing where you're like, I kind of couldn't keep up, that's okay. You can use the recipes, you can chat with me. We can all go through all that. So now on Monday, when I told you your body wasn't broken, it just responds to something differently. You now have evidence that it for sure just needed a different input, which is what the whole point of this. So I really hope you realize that information here was never really the goal. Like I could have taught you for like an hour. And believe me, I love to teach about everything that I know because I'm a pharmacist and educator at heart. But I really feel like in my own experience, when I started this journey, almost, oh God, like a year and a half ago, embarrassed to say, I had actually no idea what I was doing. I was just knew that I knew how I was feeling. I'm like you, I was desperate to feel better. I was desperate to feel differently. And I found someone who could help me by having a system that I could fit into my normal busy ass life. I didn't really know what was happening. The explanation came after I started to see results. I did not need a whole bunch of information. I needed someone to mirror me through it. I needed someone to help me with accountability and support. And I needed someone to not meet me where I'm at, but help me get to where I wanted to go. Okay. And I could have done that. I could have taught you everything about protein, carbs, fats, calories, blood sugar. I touched on briefly insulin, hormones, muscle, exercise, all that stuff. I could have, like, literally, I have guidebooks of this stuff that I actually had to take it out of the one that Breakfast Reset because I was like, this is not going to be beneficial for you. But really, what would have happened? It just would have been more information. It would have been more in and more out. You wouldn't have had that opportunity to kind of really just get to doing. You could have got bogged down in learning if you're a learner like myself. You could have been bogged down in trying to figure this out. I didn't want to do that. I wanted you to experience the response, notice it, learn from it. Like Jamie said, I'm learning through the process and then adjust to it. And that's what I was here to kind of coach you through it. And that's actually part of the way that I work with women because breakfast wasn't the experience. It was kind of like the whole method of what I do. So I want you to really understand this part. So when I created this, I didn't believe, like I said on Monday, breakfast was some magical secret. I wanted it just to be a really simple place for you to start to show you how this can create expansion in your day. So imagine if we were changing things like lunch, the dinner, your actual overall personalized protein intake, with which are the macros, which is protein, carbs, and fat. Believe me, I didn't know what that was when I started like almost 2 years ago. I thought that was, I didn't know what macros were. I'd heard about them. I was like, are you talking about us eating macaroons? Because I'm really good at eating those. But I was like, oh, macronutrients. Okay. Like I didn't understand a lot of this stuff. Like I learned through the process. I learned afterwards. I learned through my coaching. And that's okay, right? Your goal, like your job is not to get bogged down in information. We talked about strength training, sleep and stress. Like we didn't want to go over all of that. But imagine if we did work together and that's what we did. Weekends. Don't let it be your weekend. And I'm going to put some weekend tips in there for you guys today. Eating out, staying on track, not stressing about when days go awry because we're going to have stressful days. We're going to have days where we sleep like shit. We're going to have days where we're late for work and things aren't going wrong. And you can't rely on motivation to keep you going all the time. You need a simple system structure and kind of someone to help you support it and go through it. Because I know I did. I know that if I had sometimes where, I like my son was in a really bad accident. I got really stressed. I had some other stuff going on. Like there was a lot of times where I was ready just to say, ugh, I'm not sure, right? But I had a goal in mind. I had someone mirroring back to me, like, you said you wanted this. You said this is what how you wanted to feel. You said you wanted this pair of jeans to still fit. Like this is how it goes. Like I understand what's happening, but you need to stick to this. You need to just get right back on track. There's no starting over. It's keeping on going. You have the system, you have the tools, which is what I teach. Let's keep going. And you know what? I did. I kept going. I lost the 31 pounds in just over 4 months. And for a full year, I have kept it off, doing exactly what I would invite you to do with me, starting with a little small thing of breakfast. So we weren't trying to fix everything here, guys. We were doing the opposite. We found that thing. We looked at where you were, we changed an input, we watched it happen, we learned, we adjusted, and then we repeated it. That's the process. Breakfast just gave you a little place to practice. And when I say this, you are already doing a big part. You have already started a big part of what you would do if you and I were to work together. So now let's kind of like open the door and look a little bit past breakfast because I said I did want to invite you to something because I'm here to make impact with women. I'm here to help them because breakfast is just like a little controlled part of your day. But then, like I said, life happens. What happens when you don't have anything prepared? What happens when you go at 4 p.m. and you're starving? Trust me, I've been there. When you get home late, what happens when you're eating what you think is enough protein, but you're still hungry? Friday nights, weekends, going out for dinner with your husband, all that stuff, and you're doing everything you're supposed to do, you know, and nothing really changes, right? I think that's where a lot of us get to into that cycle of doing the things that we're doing. Like we think we're doing everything right, but like we're not seeing the results that we want. Do you eat less? And I think that's one of the belief shifts that we were talking about. And we've seen that in our group. Definitely eating less was not making anybody feel better. Do you change your carbs, add more exercise? Like, how do you actually really know what to do? Because I didn't. And that's where this gets different because every time, because I stand here and when I talk with every woman on this call, I give them a very similar answer. What you do next really honestly depends on you. It depends on your body, your starting point, your goals, your schedule, your habits. And that's why I don't want to give you necessarily more information. I want you to know what to do with that information. Okay. So let's just see here. I have a part in here where I wanted to just talk about what you kind of experienced in this week. So this was just a little mini version, a little tidbit of what I could give you if you and I were to work one to one. And this is actually a tiny little piece of how I help women and I coach them. We started where you were. Do I hear little feet here? We started where you actually were, not where Instagram says you should be, not where your friend is, not what worked for you at 25. We started with you. And then we identified, you can close the door. I'm almost finished, bud. Okay. That's what happens when you got kids here. Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Thank you. Okay. Thanks for being patient. How's it going, Charity? Good? Okay. Um, so and we like, yeah, like I think that's the biggest thing is that we get caught in like so much information, so much of like stuff going on, influencer trends, what your friend was doing, what worked for you 20 years ago. We want to look at like what's going to work for you, like personalized. We saw where we move forward, excuse me. We changed what we could. We watched with the breakfast, we watched your response and we coached what came up and adjusted. So now imagine if we applied that beyond everything. Like I said, lunch, our dinner, our day, our life, and actually creating sustainable habits. That's what I'd love to offer to you because having someone help you identify like what matters, what's keeping me stuck, what next to change, and holding you, this is most important, holding you to that standard that you want, like sometimes giving some tough love, which I know Charity, I've given her some tough love, like this is what we need to do, and then doing it again and again and like repeating it, not starting over, not spiraling. That's how you create the lifestyle that you desire. That's how I got to where I'm at by simply following the system, by keeping on track to it, by having someone mirror me, and by creating women, like helping them, walking them through it, which has only just given me more perspective of like, this is like a deep knowing of exactly what I want to offer to women. And it's also like a very like a really close alignment of what I do in pharmacy because when I started as a pharmacist, I started to help people. And here is just it sounds so cheesy, but it's like this deep knowing that this is what I meant to do to create that longevity, to create that lifetime, to help women actually feel better after 40 so they don't feel like they have nowhere to turn. So they don't feel like I don't know what to do anymore. Like, why do I feel sluggish? Is it perimenopause? Is it my metabolism? Like, no, it could just be simply that we have to look at things and have a different strategy than what you were doing back when you were in your 20s. It's not going to work anymore. So maybe you're someone who's experiencing that. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not consistent. These are things that I've heard from a lot of women. I do great Monday through Thursday, and then the weekend happens. I don't know what to eat when we're away. Should I eat less? Should I cut carbs? Do I need cardio, protein? I just want someone to actually tell me what I need to do in a simple, easy form. Like that's the gap. It's not more information. It's not more Google searches. It's not another meal plan. Thank God, meal plans. Like I'm sure you've maybe downloaded one. I know I have in the past, and like they work great, but then you're walking around with a piece of paper in you're walking around with a piece of paper in your wallet thinking like, is that on it? Can I have that? Is it on it? That's not what we're going to do. That's not what this is about. The gap is being able to look at your life and know, okay, this is where we start. Here's what we're looking at. This is how we balance our plate. Here's what we change and here's what we don't change. And having someone beside you to help mirror it out. So this is what I do with my clients when I work to them one-to-one. I don't have a fancy name for it. I just call it one-to-one. I don't know, because it's you and I going back and forth, usually from 30 to 60, even upwards of 90 days. Most of my clients I work with for anywhere from like 90 to 120 days. You and I go back together. You get personalized macros. You get support, you get meal plans, consistency, you have a workout app that's available to you if you don't have one. But most importantly, you have someone mirroring that back to you to help you keep going, to help you create that lifestyle. So this is just a couple things about some client stories that I wanted to share. So this one was one of my clients that started with me last October. So when she came to me, this was actually funny because she was a referral from someone that I know and love dearly. And for her, it was actually a really simple, quick yes. I said to her, hey, this is what I offer. So and so said that you may be having some issues with some lifestyle habits. Maybe you're looking to lose some weight. She said, yep, I need to get my health on track. And I said, this is what I offer. I can help you with macros. I can help you like nutrition wise. I don't like the word macros. We're going to help balance your plate so you can learn how to like fuel your body appropriately. We're going to work on exercise. And I want you to feel like you're living a lifestyle. I don't want you to feel like this is another diet or something that you're going to start and stop, because I most certainly have not start and stopped this in almost 2 years. It's just how I live now. And it's actually how my family lives now too, which is, I think, been one of the most, like the most rewarding things as well, is that knowledge and the way that I kind of like live my life now and fuel myself is actually transferred over to my kids and my husband, which is amazing because our whole family is feeling more healthier and more like robust, I would say. So for her, it was just really easy. And for her, when we first started, she thought a lot of the problem was that I just can't stop eating sweets. Like that was one of her big things. I just can't stop eating sweets. So she would have kind of like, I call it like a baby lunch. So like carrots and like a half an avocado. She'd have maybe cheese and crackers at 10:30. That was her first thing. A sweet treat at 3:30 to 4 o'clock, she said, I'm always craving sweet. A normal kind of like dinner of whatever that was with her kids. She's a busy mom. She has two teenage boys. And then she would usually be binging something at night. So she's like, I just can't stop craving sugar. She's like, that's actually what she thought her problem was. I'm like sugar cravings are my biggest thing. So what we changed was we started with breakfast. We started with a high protein breakfast. We started with bumping up her lunch. Then we started with bumping up her dinner, personalized nutrition for her to like filling her protein bucket. Then we started working on a little bit more with steps. She's lost 18 pounds from October to January of last year and kept it off, which is amazing. And when I checked in with her and I said, okay, we've been together for like 90 days. Would you like to like, we're still like, we were about 5 pounds left to her goal weight. And she's like, you know what? I feel really good. I feel like I'm having this beautiful lifestyle right now, and I'm going to continue to focus on that. And she has, which is absolutely amazing. So thought her problem was the sweets, thought it was like, I can't stop craving sugar. What it really was is that she wasn't correctly balancing her plate, eating breakfast, or really having enough protein intake throughout her day and staying long at it enough consistently to see kind of some results in her weight changes. She also had a lot of compliments about her face looking thinner, and she had to buy a smaller size of pants, which is pretty freaking awesome. The next one was one of my clients that I'm currently working with now. So she's a 68-year-old woman, and she came from the generation where less is more. And I just had a call with her just a couple days ago, and she said to me, I am stunned, were her exact words, stunned that eating more she's lost 10 pounds now, eating more, I have lost weight. She's like, I have never in my life eaten as much or as portions as much as I have now when I'm with you. And she said, and I'm feeling better. My energy is up. She's like, she's like, I might be an old gal, but she's like, I can learn new tricks. So this goes to show this is in any stage of life that you can do this. So she's now eating lunch. Because she never used to eat lunch. She's now eating breakfast, like a full actual protein shake or the yogurt bowl. She's going out for date nights with her sweetie, what she calls them. She's walking up to 5,000 steps a day, which she wasn't doing before. She's just started a really lower impact exercise kind of strength training that we're doing 3 days a week for her, slow but steady. But she was just like, I came from the generation where it was like menthol cigarettes and Slim Fast. And now I have never even heard anything about protein. I'm eating more and I'm losing weight. Stunned. Okay. The next one was another client of mine. Now, this is probably one of my favorites. Her and I worked in kind of spurts together. So we did 30 days together. She kind of got busy with life. Then we did another 30 days together. She learned. It's this lady, let me tell you, she's in her early 20s, made my head spin with how busy she was. She had gone, like, she was all over the place. And I kept telling her, one thing is you need to slow down. But she had been to naturopath. She was on a variety of supplements from them to help her lose this weight because she was convinced it was her hormones. It was not her hormones. It was the fact that she was too busy, had a little bit of stress going on, and she wasn't eating appropriately. Like her calories was like nothing. I was like, what are you eating? And she's like, I don't know. I'm so busy. I need to be on the go. So we worked with consistently meal prepping with her. They were very similar meals, which is okay. She didn't get bored. She said, I need quick and easy, consistent meals, 5 hour spacing, lowering her cardio because she was working really, really hard in cardio to give her body a break. We worked with cutting out the snacking, of course. So that's one thing that we do when we work together is we only concentrate on three really high protein meals. And when the first 30 days, I don't have the exact things, she lost about 5 pounds. Then she continued to lose. I did a 6 month check-in with her after her and I had ended up. She continued to lose afterwards. She has lost 35 pounds. 35 pounds it was November, and I think our check-in with her was in April. She's actually Facebook Marketplace all of her old jeans. She is in like some of the best shape of her life. Her skin is improved, like she's lifting weights, and she's like, without you, I wouldn't have learned how much balancing my plate, actually eating enough and cutting out the snacking, how that would change my body. Because she was at naturopaths and they were telling her, oh yeah, it's definitely cortisol, but then they just gave her a whole bunch of supplements, which she now doesn't use. She uses like the Arbonne greens, protein, and everything like that. She's like, that's what I needed. I didn't need more stuff. I didn't need more information. I needed direction and I needed help and I needed support. And then that's exactly what she got. So now I want you to think about something. So look at what we worked on one meal together. Not perfectly, not for 6 months. It was only for so far for 5 days. You created awareness, you learned. Some of you changed hunger, cravings, energy. Some of you started planning ahead, which is awesome. Some of you probably even started trusting yourselves a little bit more. So, what happened if you and I would create this together? So, what happened if we just didn't stop at breakfast and figured out your next piece and then the next? And instead of having to guess your way through all of this, your plateau, weekends, vacations, I'm almost finished, stressful weeks, we worked on it together. And that's the possibility I want to see for you. I don't want anyone here to feel like I want to feel better in my body. Maybe it's losing 7 to 10 pounds. Maybe it's losing freaking 30 pounds like I did. I want you to know you don't have to navigate it on your own because it's really freaking hard. Like I wouldn't have been able to do it unless I didn't have anyone mirroring that back to me, like I said. So on the first call, I told you I had something to share with you, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. I want to invite you. Maybe you're thinking like, wait, maybe I can do this. I don't want to stop at breakfast. So I have private one-to-one coaching. Like I said, I don't have any fancy name for it. It's just you and I going one-to-one. And I have 3 spots available that are left because I only take on 5 clients. So I have 5 that are left, 3 that are left, or excuse me, for September. And this is where we take this whole process that you've learned, and Charity and I are working together right now, and we apply it to like our bigger picture. So it's your nutrition, it's your meals, movement habits, what's actually going on, your real schedule, like where can we kind of like tweak that so you can fit things in. And Charity and I kind of worked with that. I was like, you're gonna have to stop doing those lunch errands and eat. I'm not sure if she's done that, but I hope she has. I was like, stop running around and eat, girl. You know what I mean? Like it comes about like nourishing ourselves and honoring ourselves. It's more than just about losing the weight. The weight loss I say um is kind of like a byproduct of creating this lifestyle. And it really is because it continues with you well after you and I are done, which is my goal. You don't depend on me forever. I teach, I learn, we critique, I coach, I show, I mirror, and then you go and you live this beautiful life, right? And sometimes, you do get a little bit off track. Like I've had a couple times where I've checked in with my coach and I've done a little bit of tweaking here and there. Like that happens, right? So we look at your goals. Like most importantly, like what do you want to achieve with this? For me, it was a thing of jeans. It wasn't particularly a number on a scale because I never used to weigh myself. It was like, I just don't feel good. I'm tired of being out of leggings. I want to go, I want to be able to feel good about going into my closet and picking out my pants. I want to be able to do that. And that's what we'll start to experience. That's what you will achieve with this. So, and most importantly, your response, because I don't want you, and handing you another plan and saying good luck, see you at the end. We're going to actually see what happens. So, what does working with me look like? So you get a personalized starting point. So you get personalized macronutrition. We start with some food logging. I'm not going to walk you through like the process, but you do get personalized nutritional support, coaching and accountability. That's from my 20 plus years of clinical experience as a pharmacist. I give you my own, like my, experience and my own embodied feedback and everything that I have learned about this. Check-ins and access. So we work together every day, one-to-one, seeing what's happening in your life. How can we adjust this? Maybe some tough love, maybe like, okay, keep going. Sometimes it's just a little bit back and forth if things are like going okay, and maybe it's a little bit more or some check-ins, whatever. With movement and lifestyle support. So I have an app for you to do that. And you can like pick your exercise programs through that. Or if you're already like in a strength training program or some type of movement or anything like that, we can incorporate that into your program for you. But we just look at like, how can we move throughout the day? And like I said, with one of my clients, Leslie there, she's not used to a lot of movement. So we're working up very slowly in doing some walking and getting in the steps with her. It's kind of like where you're at and seeing how we can just bump it up. Because I said, I'm not here to just meet you where you're at. I'm here to hold you to that better standard that you want for your life. So how do you claim one of these spaces? So the investment is 197 for 30 days. So that's what you get from me going back and forth. And I will just say, I want everyone to know that as of October 1st, if you lock in for me now to start, but October 1st, I am just going to be doing a slight price adjustment because I've been doing this for a year now and I have a lot of more experience, testimonials, and I've learned a lot more. And I just really feel like I have a lot, to offer. And so it's 197 for the 30 days. That's paid for me directly. That's just the coaching. And of course, if there's any supplementation or anything like that then you're in need of, then I can provide that to you as well and kind of give you a personalized support. And I would just love to have you. I have three spaces left. And really the big thing is don't keep guessing what you want to do next. I think about this a lot about the cost of staying where you are. And that's like, I know a lot of people say act now, but I want to just say about like what happens if you don't do anything? Because that was me. Because I thought about, okay, in September of 2024, I really need to do something, how I was feeling, the inflammation couldn't fit into any of my pants. And I waited 6 months. And you know what happened in those 6 months? Absolutely sweet fuck all. Nothing changed. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I didn't get back. I didn't start like eating better, like all these things. I'm like, oh, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to get back into this. I didn't do anything. I stayed exactly where I was. In 6 months, I could have been where I was if I had just acted and done something. For me, it wasn't the investment. It wasn't the, I mean, I invested in quite a bit more. For me, it wasn't that. It was the feeling of like, was this going to work for me? The feelings of failure, is this going to be something that I'm going to be able to stick to? And you know what? I didn't know that. I took a gamble on myself, but I just decided that I had my fuck it moment when I was eating one of my pieces of peanut butter and toast. I just decided that I didn't want to feel like this anymore, that I was officially done feeling like this. And I did the do. I started. And it was probably one of the best things I've ever done for my life. And I want you to experience that too. So whether you decide me to work with me or not, just let know that the reset is continuing until Sunday, and we'll have a like kind of like little closing off and kind of do that contrast of how you're feeling. Just want you to know that your body is not broken. We've all collected evidence. Look at what we've learned. Look at what you've noticed, and know that that thing about nothing works for me anymore is crap. If you thought about that 7 days ago, I hope you don't think about it now. Oh, yeah. I hope you've experienced something different. Okay. So it looks like I'm ready to go here. So if you'd love to claim one of those steps or learn spaces, excuse me, or learn a little bit more information of what that could look like for you, just reach out. And I usually do like an intake form, a little bit of a personalized call of like, so you know what the expectations are. And I know, what if you and I could be a good fit, excuse me, and this is something that I could help you with. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye and I will see you guys all in the chat. I'm going to end the recording.